I don't know if I can make it.
West Suburban would be better,
Yeah.
but, you know.
Yeah. Start saying, yeah.
It's,
Nashville's
yeah,
flat.
the 5K that I did in
All
Nashville
right.
was pretty flat. There's a.
You ready,
little
Dan?
bit of middle grade.
I'm gonna call the September meeting to order. This particular point in time, I'm looking around, I do not see anyone here, so we'll move on past item number 2, the public comment session, to item number 3, which is the approval of the minutes of our prior meeting. You've had the opportunity to review those. At this time, I will ask for any additions and/or corrections. Hearing none, I will ask for a motion and a second for their approval.
Make a motion for approval?
Second.
I have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Like sign. Let's move on to item number 4, which are the vouchers. Again, we've had the opportunity to review those for the electric and the water department. Are there any questions, additions, or comments? Hearing none, again, I will ask for a motion and a second for the approval of the vouchers.
So moved.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign. Let's move on to item number 5. And at this time, I'll call on Mr. Fagan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you, you have the revenue and expense summary for July, first month of our fiscal year, so but it's a good start. You know, despite a mild month, our revenue being down 146,000, less than what we expected. Our power cost was much less than we expected, 376,000. So we really gained between those two. That's over $200,000 right there. So, part of that, I'm sure, is the virtual power plant shaving that peak because those demand charges add up, and then having a relatively flat month on that demand helps too. The other thing is our operating expense for the month was $106,000 less than we anticipated. And so you take that 200 and that 100 there, and you're 300 ahead of the forecast just for July. Of course, we got a long road to travel here, so I'm not going to say that I'm optimistic we're going to meet or beat budget yet. In the water and sewer department, the net income, change in net assets was $8,000 in the red, but I had forecasted $20,000 in the red, so we're actually $12,000 ahead of the forecast there. Sales were pretty close. Our operating expenses were $10,000 less than I anticipated, so that puts us ahead of the forecast. Pretty good month all around for both departments, and that's all I have unless you have any specific questions.
Any questions, comments? If not, pardon me, we need a motion and a second for the approval for the monthly reports for the month of July.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by like sign. Let's move on to item number 6. And that is our project status report. And as is customary, we'll call on Mr. Bowles first with the electric.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You see quite a busy schedule in front of you of the jobs that are under construction now by our forces. I don't really have anything in particular that I'd like to point out to you other than to make a blanket statement that everything is going very well. Everything is on schedule at this point, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have relative to any of these projects.
Any questions? Okay. If not, let's move on then to water and sewer. And this is one I know that we approved, I believe it was last month, some equipment and everything. Mr. Hawkins will kind of let us know what's going on there.
Okay, well, we continue to work on the metal components, cleaning and priming and painting those, and rebuilding some of the components. We're doing that in-house. The large ticket items that was approved by the board is on order, and of course, it takes months to get that equipment in. And so that's the reason why estimated cost $190,000. We've not spent a whole lot, because what we're looking at there is labor and paint, blasting supplies and that type of thing. So it's on schedule and on budget.
Glad to hear that. Any questions? Not, let's move on to item number 7. That's the approval of some purchase orders here. And the first one is for a bull wheel tensioner. Okay.
That was very good. Very good.
All righty. I'm not even sure which department. I think that's electric. Isn't it? It is. It is.
The,
I'm another part of bull, you know. But
this,
anyway,
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, briefly, this is a piece of equipment that is used in our wire pulling operations. You have a tensioner and a puller. This is the tensioner end. The whole system that we have as a whole is Sherman and Riley, so this is one component of a whole array of components, and thus, while we went direct to Sherman and Riley, we used to could also get a bid from Yoder Sales, but they were unable to provide that. After looking at past pricing, we feel that this is very much in line, and again, it dovetails directly into the system that we have as a whole for managing our conductor pulling operations. So with that said, we would recommend your approval to proceed with this purchase of a bull wheel tensioner from Sherman and Riley, and they are in Chattanooga, Tennessee, by the way, manufactured here in our state.
Is this a replacement or an addition, or?
It is actually an addition, but we have two pieces of equipment that are both very veteran, and they double as tensioners and pullers.
2001 on the puller.
We've had so much trouble with breakdowns and whatnot. We thought if we got a new tensioner, we would recondition, and that's why in the budget, you see that there's a line item for $95,000, and this is, it's basically 65 of the 95, and the other 30 we're going to use to revamp and recondition the two pulling machines that we have, and then we'll be able to feel much better about our pulling operations without having breakdowns and so forth.
Essentially, it is a specific piece of equipment to do a specific job, which takes off the problem of trying to multitask, one piece of equipment.
Have we purchased a tensioner before, previously?
We have purchased machines before that are called tensioner pullers.
Okay, so the two
Double
together.
as with the task. This is just a tensioner, and it holds the wire end under tension as a big rope is pulled by a pulling machine.
Okay.
We have other kinds of tensioning devices like wire reels with brakes on them that we can control. Mm-hmm. But this is the first, as Mr. Chairman said, a bull wheel tensioner that we have purchased, and we did check with others, and they just think it's the greatest thing since bread has been sliced. So we thought we would just employ one of those.
And with the additional $35,000, should we be able to recondition?
That is our plan. That is our plan.
That should cover the cost?
That is, yes, that is our
We
plan.
were gonna have to replace one. What we got down to is if we didn't go in this direction, we would really try to cannibalize as much as we can the two that we have to make one good one, and then buy another one, and we would still not have this flexibility to specifically use this piece of equipment to do nothing but put tension on the cable. It essentially saved us 30,000, if you want to look at it that way, from what the budget, what we originally planned, because we knew we had to address these pieces of equipment. So we found that we could recondition those and bring less stress on them if we utilize this one piece of equipment.
Stay within budget, upgrade the other two, and acquire
Essentially, that's
this one.
correct. That's exactly right.
And acquire this one.
Right.
Any other questions and/or comments? If not, I would like to have a motion and a second, please, for the approval of the purchase of the bullwheel tensioner.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign? All right, let's move on to the next item, that being the circuit breakers. And Ernie, you still got the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is also a planned purchase. It's in your capital outlay, although it encompasses two different line items, so let me be clear about that. The line item specifically that is listed for replacement of power circuit breakers is $140,000. What we did is we need power circuit breakers at Claxton for that very large job that we're doing right now with the substation. So we just combined the bid process to get them all at the same time. When the bids came in, the apparent low bidder is who we're recommending, and with that bid price of $175, that was right square smack on what we had allotted between the $140,000 and basically $50,000 in our work order budget for Claxton. So that gives us $25,000 for installation, and we feel real good about that. So these breakers are all, as they go into our system, they will replace breakers, the youngest of which is 1963.
Youngest?
The youngest of which is 1963. So as you can see, we do milk all the life that we can out of this equipment. And quite honestly, they just don't build them like they used to, as my dad used to tell me. There's a lot of truth in that. Although these are, fine breakers for today's standards, in many ways very much more so advanced, and in other ways, if you took the weight of one of these versus one of these that we're replacing, the old ones would probably weigh 3 times as much. They're just very heavy duty, very well built breakers. So with all that said, I'll be happy to answer any questions, but otherwise we would recommend awarding the purchase order to Utility Sales for the seasoned breakers. Lowest and best bids received in accordance with our specification.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion second. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, like sign. All righty, let's move on. We're gonna let you continue to monopolize everything down there, Ernie. Just stay right on in there with work order number 486.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 486 is also in your capital outlay. If you'll recall, we mentioned last year that we had 3 phases of work that we felt that we needed to do on this very rugged, virtually inaccessible section of line in a very remote area on our system. And our annual contribution would be $150,000. So 3 years of $150,000 each, we feel, is going to bring this line up to the standard that it really needs to be to keep it going for a while. We were successful last year, and I believe closed the work order right at or under the 150. We're once again with the engineering that we've done, we're estimating right at the 150, which is what our budget amount is. So this will be phase 2, year 2 of what we hope will be only 3 phases to improve this line. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. We'd ask your approval for work order 486 for this work to be done by our own forces, and the young man that did the other mountainous job that did such a great job, Daniel Moody, will be the foreman on this.
Any questions or comments? If not, I would ask for a motion and second for the approval of work order number 486.
We approve work order 486,
Now second.
Cross Mountain.
We have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. That is approved. Let's move on to the next item on our agenda, which is other business, item 9.
Lest we give Jim a hard time about breaking records, I'll talk slowly in other business. First, I'd like to let you know that we had our annual safety audit. This was conducted by Stephen Powell on the 22nd of August. You remember several years ago, I committed to give you an update every year on how we fare with our audit, the good and the bad. You'll hear it all because we're getting this done by a very qualified professional. Mr. Powell is a certified utility safety administrator with the National Safety Council. And he's an authorized trainer of OSHA for general industry through the University of Alabama. And he's associated with the National Joint Apprentice Training Committee and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and the Journeyman Linemen. So this audit that he does, it has 35 sections to it and about 300 line items associated with that. It's very comprehensive, and we feel very good about it because he is such an expert in the field for many years. He comes out of Memphis. In his comments, and I think it's worth taking a moment, Mr. Chairman, and reading. The Clinton Utilities Board overall approach to safety of their employees and the public is very commendable. My escort, Rodney Quarles, was very cordial and helpful during the audit. All of CUB employees were very cooperative and showed interest in how their performance was during the audit process. Then he went on to note that in 2015, CUB had 1 lost time injury, and in 2016, CUB had 1 lost time injury. The warehouses and the meter shop, the engineering operations building, and the main offices were in excellent condition with cleanliness and general housekeeping. Required written programs were readily available. All trucks inspected were very good with overall housekeeping. Beds of trucks and entry and exit points were clear of clutter and material, thus helping to eliminate slip, trip, and fall hazards. All crews inspected were wearing and using all of the appropriate PPE, which is protective apparel or personal protective equipment, for their respective jobs. And the crews inspected did a very good job with work zone traffic control. Additional observations, comments, and recommendations. The author inspected the following buildings to give you an idea of what he did. The following buildings and facilities. 3 truck parking sheds, the transportation garage, the electrical warehouse, the water warehouse, engineering and operations building, the water treatment plant, the wastewater treatment plant, the meter shop, and Claxton and Eagle Bend substations. Part of his inspection also included 6 bucket trucks, 4 digger trucks, 3 pickups, 2 meter pickup trucks, 1 engineering pickup, an engineering blazer, an engineering escape, 1 pickup truck with 4 tractor on trailer, 4-wheeler on trailer, a puller machine, the Kubota tractor on trailer, a boring rig on a trailer, 3 real trailers, and 7 pickup trucks, and 2 backhoes, 2 dump trucks, and a maintenance truck, and 1 jet trailer, and forklifts, and a pallet jack. So the man's been all over it. Bottom line, through all of that, where we got gigged, we only got 1. And that was section number 9 on his report, item number 5. On bucket truck 79E, the truck mounted fire extinguisher was discharged in a discharged state. And then he quotes the APP safety manual 503.1 is where that infraction was. And that we squared away while he was still here. Apparently it got discharged. So all of that, 300 plus items. And if you remember last year, he got us because of the grinding wheel on one of our grinders. It was out of tolerance
The
because
safety shield there
this,
on
it has to be within
It was the
a quarter of
distance.
an inch, and it had to be within an eighth of an inch. It was a quarter inch because the wheel had grind down, which gave it that space. So that's where we were. And the bottom line
That's what I
is,
was laughing
he
about.
says
We're
that.
always gonna find something.
Well,
It's like
we are
fire
pleased
marshal.
that, because he literally goes out on sites where we work and checks the men,
The
and
wheel had worn down, which changed the tolerance.
he does a very good job. His final comments are Clinton Utilities Board has consistently scored well on the safety audit process. CUB has always corrected any items marked on the audit checklist and followed any recommendations the auditor has noted in the audit summary report. This was a very good audit. Keep up the good work. So bottom line is, we did, as we have committed to do,
Thank you.
an excellent job on safety, we think. I also wanted to, it was a great report, no doubt about it.
Sure was.
Well, we prioritize that and we take pride in that, and our people take pride in that. You can't have a policy unless you have commitment where it's effective. And, we're committed, and our employees are committed.
I was gonna say, you
It's
can't
a
have
culture.
compliance
It's
without
a,
commitment.
it's a culture of safety.
Yeah.
And we do that from end to end. And it's amazing to me that you can get somebody disgruntled because he doesn't think he's making enough an hour, and he pulls the one chain that he knows will get attention, and that's a safety chain. They don't do this, or they don't do that, or they made me do this, or they made me climb a pole, or they made me jump in a ditch, or they made me do something. Although he doesn't say that until he's no longer working here and he has a job somewhere else. So, I'm just saying, the independent audit, as we do consistently, I think we score excellent on that. Another interesting fact which I thought I would bring to your attention, according to the newspaper, The Tennessean, health insurers are asking Tennessee state officials for a hefty premium increase for 2018. Blue Cross and Blue Shield, who obviously that's who we do administer our program, is asking for a 21% increase. And that's on top of a 62% increase they asked for in 2017, which is on top of a 36.3% increase in 2016. You'll remember, since it was only last month, that Dudley went over and shared the funding requirements for CUB, Blue Cross Blue. We went down 3.84%. So with all of these rises, it's just fair to point out to you, ours is in the other direction, which I think is something to be proud of. And again, it goes to the how we administer the program, we think, and that saves money all the way around. We've got a great benefit which we don't abuse, and that is indicative of then the costs that are associated with that. Everybody's going up, we're going down. CB continues to be well represented in leadership positions in the organizations that affect and impact our customers. First of the year, a lot of times, first of the year is through September, and October 1 becomes, and I'm on several boards, and the opportunities to serve, you have to be elected for that, and then positions that you hold in the board, then they have to be elected throughout that board. I have been reelected to several boards I'm chairman of the, of ACETA, the Anderson County Economic Development Association. Been reelected as chairman of the board of the East Tennessee Economic Development Agency, and that represents the regional 15 counties. I chair the TVA, TVPPA Economic Development Committee, which represents all of the LPCs, the local power companies in the 7 states of the valley. I'm vice chair of 7 States Power Corporation, and that corporation was founded in 2008 to partner with TVA to conduct, to be the conduit between LPCs for patronage capital and for asset equity and new assets purchased by TVA. I've been reelected to the board since its inception, which was in 2008, and I've been nominated, but I've refused because of time constraints, the position of chairman. But I am chairman of the board of the Distributors Insurance Company, DIC, which is a captive, wholly owned subsidiary of TVPPA. That was created in 1983. Dudley and I were in that inception of that, and that was designed to meet the unique needs of coverage for the valley. I'm also chair of the board of the Distributor Self-Insurance Fund, DSIF, which addresses workers' comp in Tennessee. I vice chair Central Service Association, the board, which is CSA, and that association has been in business since 1938, and we've been dealing with them. I know pre-50s, they did all of our meter readings at one time. And I'm a member of the Tennessee Valley Customer Planning Council with TVA. I'm on their committee, and that's designed to enhance the cross-organizational efforts to improve the strategic alignment between TVA and the LPCs. I wanted to tell you that because we've got a lot going on. We've got the fingers in a lot, and everything is to leverage what we can do for our 30,000 customers, even though a lot of this represents the over 9 million in the valley. It makes a difference, and we are making a difference. And as a reminder, next month, we're going to meet on the 19th, not the 12th. So make sure your calendars are marked and remarked. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, that's great. Start down there with CP. You got anything to offer? Anything to add, sir?
Nothing more.
Is there?
Good.
How about Ms. Vaughn?
Just one question. When you said, Mr. Fay, that we have 30,000 customers, that's households, right? Or is that people?
No, that's households.
So we really do have more.
Individuals that we affect, exactly right. 30,000 meters
Yeah.
is
Okay.
essentially what that is.
I was just curious, after reading everything we've read in the paper, just how many people are under our umbrella?
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, there is, there's a good deal, and I tell you, the lights are on,
Yeah.
which is really what they look for. The lights are on and the rates are low.
That's right. Thanks.
And you can
Thanks
turn
to
on the
CB.
tap and get water and the lever and flush a commode.
That's always a good sign.
Those are good signs. Those are great signs.
Ever light in my house stays on all day.
And we appreciate that.
Anything else? If not, we are adjourned.